Well, here we are out again on the Red Revolt, and well, this seems to be a constant theme of my videos lately, but there are too many cars on the road, and it really is getting to a point where somebody needs to sit up and take notice. Every little country lane you go down, even in the middle of nowhere, roads that don't really go anywhere, have a constant stream of cars on them. It's at any time of the day. It's not just a few people who know a shortcut to avoid the morning rush. It's all the time. I went out for a ride on Saturday, turned back into the estate where I live, and there was a queue, standing traffic, getting out of the housing estate, mid-morning on a Saturday. And it really is getting worse and worse by the day. And this, of course, comes at a time where, for some unknown and bizarre reason, employers are now saying they want people who work at home to go back into the office. Whereas for years, companies have been trying to encourage people who can to work from home because it's better for them. They need less office space. People are not already frazzled from the commute by the time they get there. And then over and above that, cars are getting bigger and bigger and bigger. I walked into the Kia showroom the other day and they had an EV9. And I just looked at it and I thought, where do you park that? There can't be a parking space in Britain big enough for it. So as we approach gridlock, this is a serious problem, because it's bad for everybody. The economy suffers. People can't get to work. You can't get goods and services delivered. And I don't know, I've never noticed it before, but I do now a lot more. Is you're sitting in a queue of traffic and you can smell the exhaust gas. So imagine the health implications for those people who live nearby. And there's a row of houses that had to be demolished up in the valleys because it's a fairly major road and it's in quite a steep-sided bit of the valley, and cars queue. There's a set of traffic lights at the bottom, and of course, as I said, there's too much traffic on the road, and the air quality was so poor that the people had to be moved and the houses were demolished. And that's quite serious. You can't just keep demolishing people's houses because of the cars queuing, because we've got to find those people somewhere to live. And how long is it before the new street that they live in has the same problem? No, it's a big problem. So anyway, I went out this morning and I was going to Swansea, which is 22 miles away. So I go on the train because I don't like sitting in traffic. And it's 22 miles away, and it takes me an hour to get there. And it's still better than driving. But it takes half an hour on the train from Bridgend to Swansea. And it takes half an hour, or should I say we allow half an hour. My wife takes me to the station. And we allow half an hour to get the 2 miles to the station, because that's how bad the traffic is. But this morning, well, it would have taken us probably the best part of an hour, because something had gone wrong. And this is again one of the things. You only need something very minor to happen on the road for the entire town to be gridlocked. And fortunately, because I cycle a lot, we were in this gridlocked traffic, and the sat-nav was telling us it was going to take best part of an hour to get there. And I said, I know a way, which is not immediately obvious, which of course is why not everybody else was doing it. Even my wife, who lives there, said, I don't know where this road goes. I said, well, don't worry, just trust me, because I cycle down here. And so in the end, we made it with 2 minutes to spare. Sprint out of the car, jump on the train and away. And I know what you're thinking. This is a cycling channel. Why don't you just ride your bike to the station? And yes, that's what I'd like to do. Every morning, sitting in the traffic, I think this is stupid. I could be down there in a few minutes on a bike, but I can't. And why can't I? Well, it's very simple. If you cycle to the station, somebody will steal your bike. It's not if, it's when. I guarantee that if you cycle to the station, somebody will steal your bike. Because we have the most unbelievable situation. I never thought that I would see this happen in Britain. We're in a situation where effectively there are no police. I mean, how frightening is that? But this is what's happened. The police have said that they don't have the resources to investigate petty crime, burglary, or car theft. Just think about that for a minute. So what the police are saying is, if you're a criminal, it's open season. You can steal whatever you want. We're not coming after you. And this is something I talked about in the last video. The people who can't afford an entry-level bike, but they would benefit hugely if they were able to cycle to where they're going. We should encourage them to try and get hold of a bike. So if somebody scrimped and saved to get a bike, and then it gets stolen, it's game over for them. They can't just go and buy another bike. And what are the government going to do about it? Well, I'll tell you, absolutely nothing. Well, I can't really ride my bike to Swansea because, I need to take stuff with me. And it would mean that in addition to that, I would need a change of clothes, because you're going to get there a bit sweaty and you can't walk around all day in your cycling shoes. And if it's raining hard or really cold, you need to dress up a bit more, And Yeah, it becomes hard work cycling when you're heavily clothed. But I thought the other answer is I could get an e-bike. That would solve the problem. So I asked, is there parking for bicycles? And the answer I got was, yes. But make sure you've got a really good lock. In other words, bring your bike if you want, but there's a good chance it'll get stolen. And of course e-bikes are much more likely to get stolen than analog bikes. So the government tells us they're trying to promote cycling. But unless we have secure parking and safe cycle routes, it's never going to happen. And do they even want to promote cycling? Or are they just paying it lip service? The more you sit in a traffic jam, wasting fuel, the more money they get. And of course, the politicians are only the puppets. It's the corporates that are the paymasters. And let's be honest, the oil companies don't want you riding a bike, and nor do the train operators. They want you handing over your cash to them.